Hey guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin and we're in black and white because today it is a palette bingo video. Now today's palette bingo is very special because it is a collaboration. There are a bunch of us that are using this Huda Beauty Wild palette and we're all doing palette bingos. This is of course hosted by Deb's Beauty Diary and Makeup in the Mundane. Please check them and all the other collaborators out. I'll have everything down in the description box. Yeah, I think that's about it. If you haven't already, I would love it if you consider subscribing. I upload videos twice a week. It is totally free to subscribe and I would love to have you back again on the channel for all things makeup. Without further ado, we'll go ahead and get back into color and we'll do the random number generator to see what shades I got for this look. Alright, so let's go ahead and generate our numbers. If you have not seen the palette before, here it is. Again, it's the Wild Jaguar palette by Huda Beauty. Here is the color story, and this is still available on their site for $32, I believe, but I would not recommend getting it for that price. I did not. Wait till it's on sale or go someplace like Poshmark, Mercari, get it used. I truly don't think it's worth the full price, but we've got it here. I haven't used this one in a few months. I've used it this year, but it's been a while, so I thought this would be fun. I'm fresh out of the shower, so my hair's a bit wet. Excuse it. Hopefully it's dry by the time we finish our shade selection and get into the look here. But I've got my random number generator here on my phone, and I'm gonna go ahead and swatch out on my hand. We're gonna do 5 shades today, and yeah, see what the bingo gods have for us in store today. The first shade we've got is number 7, and that is a very nice, just like cream color. Like for me, this is going to be a good crease color because it is pretty similar to the skin tone that I already have. Like you can barely see the swatch because it matches my skin tone so well. So that's going to be nice for me to set my eyeshadow primer with. Next we have number 3. Okay, we've got a shimmer. Now none of these, by the way, have names. There are no shade names, so it's just what you see is what you get. We've got a gold shimmer. The shimmers are okay in this palette. They're not my favorite formula of all time, but they're not bad. So there is the gold metallic shimmer we've got. Number 3, shade 3 is going to be number 2, which is this kind of like taupe, somewhat like purple leaning mauve, but somehow also a bit gray. It's very hard to describe, but that's the color right there. It's another matte. That'll be nice to kind of like deepen up a little bit the outer corner, I feel. A lot of the looks I feel like with this palette kind of make themselves. It's not like, what do I do with this color story? A lot of it just goes together no matter what colors you get. Number 1 is the next color. This is this kind of like pewter is the best way I think I can describe it, because it's not really quite just silver. It's a little smokier than that, but another shimmer. So that's going to be interesting. Running out of room in my hand. I didn't plan this well. It's going to be interesting with the gold because we have this more pewter color, but then we also have the warm gold. So we've got like a mix of warm and cool going on here, which I honestly do like looks that do both. And then finally, number 9. Okay, so we didn't get the black. I may add the black anyway, just because I like it for shadow liner. But our 5th shade down here is another shimmer. Holy shimmer. And this one is more of a purpley shimmer. It's a different texture than the others. I don't know if you can tell. It's not as reflective. It's smoother. And it's not as shimmery. I think you can tell that next to that pewter. So let's do a bit of eyeshadow primer and we'll go ahead and start. I would love to know in the comments, do you guys do eyeshadow palette like bingos? Do you play them on your own? I'm sure some of you watching that are content creators do them, but for those of you that don't have channels, do you do it just for fun? Or do you just more so like watching other people do them but you haven't done them yourself? I will say, especially if you have a limited shadow collection, I think palette bingos are fun because if you feel like you've kind of exhausted all the possibilities in a palette, it's kind of a fun way to challenge yourself with some different combinations. Maybe you wouldn't pick yourself, but some of my favorite looks I've ever done have been palette bingos where the random generator has put shades together I never would have thought looked good together and they look great together. Alright, so we're going to start, like I said, with the shade here, the matte, that is kind of like the no-brainer shade in my opinion. It's very close to my skin tone. I'm just going to set the eyeshadow primer in the crease. Ooh, that matte is very dusty compared to what I remember it being. There's a lot of cake up in the pan. That's going to help, like I said, set my primer, and it is covering the veins in my eyelids very well. That's partially why I like primer, because I like to build up the matte in the crease so you can't see all the blue and purple veins in my eyes. Next up, I'm going to take, let me find here, a different brush, the other matte, the only other matte we got, this one. And I'm going to use that just to deepen up the outer corners a little bit to give us some dimension. It's not a super deep color, like this one definitely would have deepened up more if we would have gotten that one, but it's definitely deeper than the original matte that I put in the crease, so you'll still be able to tell it's a bit deeper. And I do appreciate about these matte shadows, even in the 9 pans, because I know some people have said and commented that they feel the quality of the shadows in the 9 pans are different than the bigger palettes. But I still think the mattes in the small 9 pan are good and build up well. I think this is the only 9 pan palette that I have by Huda. I've seen tons of their other ones, but honestly, I just do not like a lot of the color stories that they've come out with in the smaller 9 pans. I have several of the larger ones, and I love those, like the Rose Quartz. Oh, so good. Mercury Retrograde, the Naughty. Have all of those, and they're all quite nice, I must say. Alright, here comes the hard part, because we've got 3 shimmers. I think I have figured out what I want to do with them. I think I'm gonna do the pewter like on the outer corner, or like the outer portion, the more like purpley one on the inner, and the gold on the bottom, just to break up the cool tone from the warm a little bit. But we'll see. I don't know. Maybe I should do the pewter on the inside and the purple on the outside, just with the mattes. Last minute decision. I'm going to do that. So I'm going to do more of the like silvery pewter on the inside. And I'm going to do more of like the purpley out here. Yeah, because that will like mesh well. Oh, Fallout City. Did not remember that. Uh-oh. Oh, thank goodness it wiped away. Okay, so there's a ton of fallout with this shimmer. I do remember that now, that I did not like that shade for that reason. So let me find, where are you? Here it is. I'm going to use some glitter primer for the shimmers because it's not just sticking to my eye, and I need it to have something to stick to a little bit here because I'm not trying to ruin my complexion. That was why I've stopped using this one. I had forgotten. Yeah, that was a little scary there. Dark shimmer on the face. Yikes. Okay, so now that we have glitter primer, let's try to go back in this purple again and hope that we don't get fallout this time. Goodness. Okay, so I didn't get fallout that time. That's good, but I feel like it's not a... Even with glitter primer, this is not an impactful shimmer whatsoever. Like, I don't even know that you can barely see it to tell a difference between where I place the shimmer and the similar kind of like taupey purple colored matte. I really don't know that you can even tell. And at that point, it's kind of like, so why do we have this shade? What's the point of it if you can't even see it? I don't know. I'm trying to build it up some, but I also don't want to put so much product that I start causing a creasing issue that doesn't need to be there. But the pewter is a totally different formula and texture. You can tell right away from the swatches and from how it picks up on the brush. That's another story. That's a really nice texture and formula. Oh, I like that a lot. And that was already kind of a good shimmer, but the glitter primer is really bringing out the best in that kind of silvery pewtery one. I do like that. We'll zoom you in just a little bit so you can see better what's going on here. Just trying to mesh the pewter and the kind of like purpley one. And I think I'm going to go back to that first brush and kind of clean up in the crease a little bit here where the shimmers are meeting it. I'm not doing any additional product. I'm just using the additional brush that I had used that first matte with to make sure it's not harsh up here in the crease. I think that's pretty like fun and smoky, but not too like dark and nighttime, if that makes sense. I like that. Okay, now we're going in with the gold shimmer. And we're just going to put that on the lower lash line, I think, all the way across. I'm even bringing it into the inner corner a little bit. Yeah, it just, I don't know, it adds like more texture on the lower lash line too. Ooh, I like that. That's interesting. If you haven't watched my channel very much, I don't often do like shadow on the lower lash line, but I don't hate the shimmer down there for sure. Okay, and I am gonna feel a little naked without any kind of like eyeliner, I will say. So even though we didn't draw it, I am gonna go ahead and use the black matte here just to give myself a bit of shadow liner. I hope you guys can forgive me and not be like, oh my gosh, it's cheating, because I just don't feel like looks look right without a little liner. Oh, yes, just as something like that. That's really, really pretty. Like I said, I feel like this palette is a pretty safe one with Palette Bingo, if I'm being honest, because I think all of the combinations go together well. It's not like, ew, what's this combination? What am I going to do with this? So I'm going to go ahead and put on some kind of lip, some kind of fall lip. I need to figure that out in mascara, and I'll be back to show you the final look. And here is the final look. I went ahead and paired a cool toned, kind of grungy lip with it. This is from Dose of Colors. It's in shade Cold Shoulder, the liquid lipstick. I just thought like the purple undertone and the cool tone would really pull out some of that purple from the eyeshadow. And I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm supposed to go out with my brother a little bit later, maybe catch some dinner. So I feel like this is the perfect look for this, and this is such a fall vibe. Like, don't love, like I said, the shimmer, super crumbly, but the other shimmers that I used today were great. The mattes were great. So yeah, it was nice to revisit this and use something in my collection. Thanks so much for Dub's Beauty Diary and Makeup in the Mundane for hosting this collab. I definitely want to participate in future months that they host this when it's a palette that I personally also own. So stay tuned. Don't forget to check out the other collaborators, and I hope to see you again on the next one. Bye!